Street Talk with your host Reggie B. Come on, let's all join in. Free your voice, it's your choice, alright here. Oh, Simply Straight Talk.
What's up? It's your girl Amber here, and I'm always excited to greet the Simply Straight Talk family. On today's show, Reggie is talking about desperate times and bad decisions. When tough time knocks on your front door, it can make you do some crazy things. Reggie has been there and done that, and he's going to share his experience with you. So get ready. The show is starting right now.
All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of Simply Straight Talk. And that was the one and only, the most wonderful Amber bringing in that introduction. And Amber, you are absolutely right. Because there have been times where I have been in desperate situations and it has led me to make very bad decisions. You know, because let's be honest now. Come on, if we're going to be real on this show and be honest with each other, everyone has been through something in their life. You've been through a period in your life to where you have just been in a situation to where you had way more bills than money. You was at the point of being evicted. Your car was at the point of being repossessed. You was in a bad relationship with somebody. You know, there's just so many things that can affect a person. You know, maybe somebody was sick in your family. You was sick. And, and you're trying to figure a way to get out of all these situations. You're trying to figure out, do I fix the relationship, stay in the relationship? The relationship is costing you more money, but it's not a workable relationship. And like I said, bills are coming in. You can't keep up with the bills. They call on your phone. They knocking on your door. They leaving notes. The rent office wants their money and they're tired of you delaying your rent because you being late every week. So you got more fees added on every week. Every time you pay something late, you're paying more money. And it's just tough, man. It's tough because when you get into desperate times, I'm not ashamed to say, I made some very, very bad decisions. And a lot of that is just the fact that, when you get desperate times, man, you panic and you start to wonder, like, how am I going to get out of this, man? How am I going to do this? So you start looking for quick answers and quick fixes that really are not quick at resolving your problem. They really just delay the problem and create an additional problem down the line. Now, there are a lot of quotes out there that everybody say, because when you're going through a hard time and you're struggling, everybody's going to pull some type of quote that's going to say something like, hey, life is always hard, man, but, the pain on it makes you stronger. And, hey, hang in there. Hard times come, hard times go, or, struggling and all that is just all a part of life. But let me tell you the truth. Sometimes you just want to sit back and say that life absolutely sucks. It's just the truth, man. There are days when you just look at life itself and you know what you say? And you honestly think to yourself, because I have done this. Man, life sucks, man. Life absolutely sucks. I'm sick of it. And it's true. Come on, you got to be real with yourself. If you have never been through nothing, then you probably never felt that way at all, because you probably just had a good, glorious life. But if you a real person like me, you've had those moments, man, when you were like, man, this ain't even worth it, man. I'm sick of this. I'm sick of the bills. I'm sick of people. I'm sick of my family. I'm sick of these so-called fake friends. I'm just sick of everybody and everything. But you know what? It is a part of life. But it's having the courage to admit that sometimes you get in situations and they suck, which makes life seem like it absolutely sucks. But, sometimes we got to be honest with ourselves too and acknowledge the fact that, hey, maybe I'm the reason for these bad decisions or why I'm going through this. Because, let me tell you, let me share some examples of some of the things that I have done. Because I don't want it to seem like I'm calling nobody out or putting, everybody else down. I just want you to know that if you are going through something and you made a dumb decision, look at your brother Reggie right here, right now. We family. We all family. Look at your brother Reggie. Listen to your brother Reggie when he tell you that he has made some absolutely dumb decisions. And it was all based on the fact that I was looking for that quick answer, that quick fix. And that quick fix means I had to do another quick fix and another quick fix. And I basically just delaying the problem. So without further ado, let me introduce the dumbest things that Reggie has done. Okay? But at the time, it seemed like it was the answer. You can accredit some of that to just being youth, lack of inexperience in life, and some of it just being looking for a lazy way out of a problem. Okay, now, one of the things I've done in my life now, because I was in a little bit of a money situation, I was actually, trying to find, I was homeless, trying to find somewhere to stay. So I did a web loan. Okay, now, the web loan was $400. Now, you probably saying, now that's not bad. That's not bad. You got a web loan for $400. See, everybody don't have family and friends they can call to get money from and all that type stuff. So I just had more stuff coming in. I owed more money. So the web loan I got, what's the name of that company? I think it was American Web Loan. Something like, I think it was American Web Loan. And, I ended up put it like this. The $400 loan ended up costing me $1,900 to pay it back because the interest rate was so high. And when your credit is not good, these are like last resort places, man. And, I did that thinking that, okay, it's going to help me out. I got to have the money right now. This is going to help me stay afloat. But then I ended up losing out because I ended up paying them more back. It's like those furniture rental center places. Yes, it's cool. They let you make small payments so you can get the furniture you need because you do need a bed. You do need a couch and all that type stuff. But, at that time, I wish I just would have prepared and started having a savings account so I didn't have to do that web interest loan. So I did a web interest loan that ended up costing me $1,900 on a loan that was only $400. So yes, call me an idiot. I was dumb for the simple fact that I just made the decision that this was going to solve my problem, and it didn't. Like I said, it just delayed the problem and tacked on more problems to the problems because I was shelling out more money. I've also done payday advances. Now, for those of you who don't know what payday advances are, payday advance was really big. I think they still do them, but it was really big back when I was in the military, man. Because what happened is, you take your paycheck, you show them that you're working somewhere, and they will give you a loan up to your paycheck or if you needed less than your paycheck, but they would give you that loan ahead of time. But what happened is your next paycheck, they take that money back. So let's say you're making $1,000 every 2 weeks. You take a loan out for $500. Well, that next paycheck you get is only going to be $500 because that $500 is going to them. And it sounded good at the time because like, okay, I got some money right now. I can take care of what I need to do. But the problem was, come my next paycheck, when I should have had $1,000, I only had $500. So now I'm back in the hole again, trying to figure out how I'm going to get more money to cover the money that I borrowed to replace the money that's now gone. So it was another one of those things of just being a quick fix. So yeah, I did payday advances. That was a bad mistake. Relationships. I made some poor decisions in relationships. And these decisions that I made, because when you don't see the warning signs and you get with somebody that's draining you, they are draining you not only physically, but financially and emotionally, but financially. They are draining you. You start making bad decisions, especially if you feel like you really love that person or you care about that person. You want it to work. So you start actually taking away from your savings. You start taking out more of these payday loans and borrowing money from people just to help ends meet and to keep the relationship afloat when this other person is like basically a 20-ton vacuum cleaner just sucking everything you bring in. And you're thinking like, wow, okay, you're tired, you're draining, and you don't catch it. And when you don't catch that stuff, that's the type of person that's in your life, then you find yourself going into a financial hole. Now, I'm going to say this. I'm not saying this about all women, but to be honest with you, there are some women in this situation too. But I believe the majority of men who are facing financial challenges is because they got into a bad relationship and that person sucked them. And then when that person was dry, they moved on. Okay, I'm just saying. I'm saying there's some women like that too, so I'm not excluding the women, but I'm just saying a lot of men are in that situation, okay? Now, career choices is probably another area that I've just really never, I mean, for desperate times, when you start just taking jobs, what ends up happening is you end up chasing money. Now, I remember watching this dude named Charles on YouTube. He always talk about going to Brazil, finding a woman, getting a woman outside the United States. So that's another show, another topic. But, you know, when he was talking about, he made the comment one day, he said that he was so tired of chasing money and he wanted his money to follow him. When he said that, something just clicked in me like, you know what? That's what I've been doing with my life. I've been chasing money. I never took the time to try to figure out how to make my money follow me. Because somebody who's smart with money, they understand how to invest or start a business or do something to where they're not just going from job to job saying, who's going to pay me? You pay me $10 an hour? Okay, how much you pay me? 11? Okay, I'll go work for you. I'll work for you for 3 or 4 years. How much you paying me? 18? Okay, I'll go work for you. And the entire time, your whole life is in the hands of somebody else. Everything you want and need is based on somebody else's decision as to whether or not they feel they value you today or not, because they can let you go at any time for any reason. And once again, what are you doing? You're back out there chasing money. A lot of my life, I have spent chasing money. Because going from job to job, who's going to pay me the most? Who's going to pay me what I think I'm worth? But ultimately, I end up settling for what you think I'm worth. Because I got to pay bills. I got to put food on the table. I got to have a place to live. So when it comes to career choices, I have made some bad decisions. Now, people say taking a job is never a bad decision. Now, I agree with that. I do agree with that 100%. Being an employed person, okay, having a job is never a bad thing. But the one thing I feel that people should understand is that at some point you have to evaluate, how can I stop the cycle of just going from one job to the next, looking for that next paycheck, when I can establish myself, create my own financial income, determine my own future and my own self-worth, to where when I take a vacation, the money is there. When I'm sleeping, money is coming in. Instead of me saying that, okay, I got to wait 2 weeks for the next check, or if we're getting paid monthly or weekly, but like you can be on a Tuesday or Wednesday, money coming in. Anytime during the week, money can be coming in because you got something set up that's generating revenue, and it's not based on when somebody else decides they're going to pay you. You got revenue generated because you got your own business establishment going, funding you, financing you. But when it comes to desperate times and bad decisions, we've all done it. So if you're out there right now and you feel like, man, I made some bad decisions, or I'm about to make a bad decision, listen, you haven't been in this. You're not in this alone. You're not the only person that's been in this situation. But I'm hoping that by you listening to this show today, that if you're about to do anything that I'm talking about previously or what I'm going to talk about in the next segment, it's going to help you to kind of understand that you don't have to make that decision, that there are other options, or maybe to research a little more, because I'm going to get a little bit more into this whole thing, because when you're in desperate times, you get scared. You begin to panic because you're starting to feel like, I don't have answers. The clock is ticking. Time is running out. You know what I'm saying? It's like you're playing basketball. You're in a championship game. You're down by 5 points and there's only 60 seconds left on the clock. And the other team is just holding the ball, waiting for the clock to run out. So you're trying to get the ball and you got to score points. So that's all a part of desperate times. And you start panicking. You know what do basketball players do when they're down? They start fouling, which sending the other person back up to the line so they can take another shot, which means you're down by more points if they make those baskets. And sometimes that's how we're living our life. We're living our life based off panicking because we feel like we're in such a desperate situation that it requires a radical action that's a quick fix, but really it's just a delay into what we have to do and how we can resolve our issues. So you know what? You guys stay tuned. We're going to come right back and we're going to have a little bit more about this discussion because we're going to talk about this some more because if you're like me, you've been there, you understand, and you know that this is the conversation to have because there are people going through. Stay tuned. You're listening to the Simply Straight Talk Show.
Don't even think about it. We got more straight talk just for you. RM Viaging is a company based on life's journey and sharing life lessons with the world in the form of laughter and reflection, inspiring people to go after their dreams and not giving up on life. RM Viaging creates inspirational music and motivational speeches designed to motivate all age groups. Visit our website at www.rmviaging.com to hear samples of our music. You will also find motivational articles on our blog page titled New Life, New Mind Blog. We also have a weekly podcast hosted by Reggie called Simply Straight Talk, all on our website at www.rmviaging.com.
We're back with the conversation starter and the voice that works harder. Your host, Reggie.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the second segment of the Simply Straight Talk Show. And today we are talking about a conversation that definitely needs to be had. Desperate times and bad decisions. Now, you all know that we all make bad decisions. We all do things that later down the line, we start asking ourselves, man, why did I do that? And the reason I wanted to do this show topic is because I understand what it's like to be in a desperate times and start making desperate decisions. But also, I wanted to bring up the fact that I want you to know that by listening to this show, I'm hoping, and I would not be offended if you are going through a desperate time right now and you're starting to feel like, man, I need to do something, and you feel like you're going to make a bad decision, I'm hoping that some of the mistakes that I made, that you will actually say, I don't want to be as stupid as Reggie was with the decisions he made. So please, let's be mindful of what we're doing and let's be careful. And I'm going to go into a little more detail about some of the things that I did. And I'm hoping that this will pass on to you so you will understand that you can make better decisions. You don't have to make the mistakes that I made. Now, in the first segment of the show, we talked about web loans. We talked about payday advances. We talked about relationships, career choices. And now we're going to go a little bit further into this because now when I told you I took out a web loan, now if you missed the first segment, I told you I took out a web loan that was $400. And you know what? And within 24 hours, they had it in my bank account. It was there when I woke up the next morning, $400. Now, here's the downside. Yes, it was quick money. Yes, I thought it was money that would resolve an issue. But the problem was, even though I got the money quickly, the interest rate on that loan was so high that I ended up paying $1,900 back. And I ended up having a longer issue with money. So that's something you got to realize that, quick fixes are not always the right way. And you're going to hear me start saying that a lot, man. Quick fixes are not the right way. And the next thing, I had to learn to be patient and think through the situation because sometimes I would get so far ahead of the problem that I was actually creating solutions. You were using solutions that just made my problem even worse. So that's something you got to think about too. Be patient. And I know it's hard when it feels like The clock is against you. You know, you're running out of time. You're praying, you're working, and you're like, man, when it doesn't look like I'm going to make it. But be patient. Be patient. Because the worst decisions we often make are those that are rushed. I also talked about payday advances. Now, here's the thing about a payday advance. As I described it in there, I'm not going to go through the whole process as I did in the first segment, but the thing about that payday advance was, you know, it was kind of cool because you can get that money right now, fix what you think you got the need to fix. Then come the next pay period, you know, when you're kind of like, and sometimes you'll forget. It's like, I got the money, okay. But you got to realize that if you borrow $500 and you only make $800 every 2 weeks, you know what? That $500 coming out. So your next paycheck is only $300. So now you're looking for money again. So once again, what are you doing? You're chasing money. See, these quick fix solutions only create problems down the line. And one thing I noticed about the payday advance, it can get you caught in this circle to where you're constantly getting payday advances. And they'll keep giving it to you because they can get their money and get the interest. They don't care. They'll keep giving it to you. As long as you got a job and they know they can get that money back, they'll keep giving it to you. There's no consideration for the fact that this person is in a cycle and they need to break it. So you got to be mindful of that. You got to be mindful of that. So if you do a payday advance, which I highly recommend, you know, if you're thinking about a web loan or a payday advance, you know, the reason some of these web loans are illegal in so many states is because the interest rates are through the roof. So you got some states that absolutely forbid these web loan companies from doing any business in their state because the state is looking out for their state residents. And you know what? And I'm so thankful that some states allow that. Now, and the same thing for payday advances. You got to be careful about these so-called quick fixes, man. You got to think of where this is going to put you in the weeks or the months ahead. Now, relationships. Now, I'm a guy, you know, and I've always wanted to find that right woman that's going to be the right person. And I've always ended up with women. So that's a pattern that I had to break. You know, I always ended up with women that was just vampires when it came to finances, man. They just wanted to suck the finances out of you. So yes, I had some debt, man, because of the relationships I was in. I was not in a relationship with someone who was a partner. I was in a relationship with people that were just actually drainers, man. They just had a big bag open and said, pour it all in, you know? So you got to be careful about who you tie yourself to. And you got to be careful and be willing to take a step back and look at the relationships that you're in. How are these relationships benefiting you? And are you putting out more than you're getting back? Now, as a whole, you should be looking at what you're getting overall. But just for the topic of this show, I'm mainly speaking about finances. You need to make sure that you don't have friends that are only pulling money from you. They're treating you like an ATM machine. So when you run short on money, you know what I'm saying, they seem to disappear. But I tell you what, though, if you really want to find out, just start telling them no when they want to borrow money. And you will start to notice if they start to drift away, don't call, don't want to hang out. You will know the difference. So be careful about relationships, people that you tie yourself to, because if you are dating a man or woman and they're pulling more out of you, constantly in need, not contributing, draining you financially, then you know what? They may not be the person for you. I'm sorry to say. And I understand that people go through hard times and, you know, right now they may be on their down, but if that down doesn't come up pretty soon or they're not doing something, because if I'm with a woman, I lose my job and we're trying to make ends meet, I'll work at McDonald's. I'll work at Burger King. I'll do whatever I can until I get to where I need to be to maintain the household, but I'm not going to sit around and just drain her. So, and another thing, and this is really important, you need to find a friend in your life that is totally 100% a confidant, somebody that you can trust, somebody that who you know that they are going to tell you the truth about who's in your life, decisions that you're making. Even if this is not somebody that's going to be your bailout, when it comes to when you need money or finances or stuff like that. This is somebody that if I would have went, like, see, I never had a person like this in my life that I can go to and say, look, man, I just need to talk. I'm struggling. I'm thinking about taking out this well-blown. It'd be nice to have a friend that said, look, man, be patient. Be patient. Call and try to make arrangements. Don't do that. Hey, I'm going to take out a payday advance. Don't do that. You know, when you got friends that actually tell you don't do it, those are friends that care about you, not friends, hey, man, you got to do what you got to do, bro. Just do what you got to do. You don't need friends like that. You need friends that's going to tell you, man, that's a dumb decision. Don't do it. Be patient. Stick it out. Let's make some phone calls. That's the type of person you need that's looking at you for the long term, not for the short term, not just because they feel like they're trying to see what they can get from you. Now, as I said, you know, when you're going through life, you're going to run into tough times. And for me, taking out web loans, payday advances, rushing through decisions, not truly evaluating the relationships, being blind to the people that I was bringing into my life, thinking that it was going to be something long term, it put me in a big financial debt, man. And it took me so long to clear stuff up. And some of the stuff I'm still clearing up. But it's all because of rushed decisions and not having that real, true, confidant, road dog, homie, ride or die friend that was right there to say, look here, bro, this ain't the way to do it. You know what I'm saying? This is not the way. So you got to make sure that you keep these things that I just mentioned in mind. And I promise you, it will save you from a lot of headaches down the line. And the same thing with your career. You know, you might be working a job right now, but start looking at ways you can make money, invest money. You know, start planning for that stuff because you got to do it. If you don't, look for the future, because if you don't, there'll be a very, very, very sad future for you. All right, guys. Right now, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. And I'm going to conclude this conversation and I'm going to give you my final thoughts. So you guys stay tuned right here on Simply Straight Talk.
Free your mind, free your voice right here on Simply Straight Talk.
Hey, are you looking for some great music, upbeat and with a positive voice? Well, the song I Stand With You is exactly what you need. This timeless song has a pop version sung by Audrey Carmel. And a reggae version sung by General Steele, now known as Revelation.
Now I know some days you may feel blue, Lord. Trust in your greatness to see you through.
These songs are now available on iTunes and other digital platforms for download. Don't miss out. Get your copy today.
Are you ready for the straight truth? Reggie, what's the final word for today?
All right, everybody, welcome back to the Simply Straight Talk Show. And right now we're going to get into the final thoughts of the show. Now, today we are talking about desperate times and bad decisions. And I have just shared with you just a few of the occasions in my life when I had just been in a desperate situation and I just made a really, really bad decision. You know, I talked about web loans. I talked about payday advances. I talked about relationships. You know, I talked about not having that one true friend to really be there to tell you good move, bad move. But what I learned from this experience in my life, or these multiple experiences in my life, is the fact that I was looking for a quick solution that was not a long-term fix. And my solutions to fixing my problems actually created more problems down the line. And I didn't think about that at the time. I didn't consider the fact that, yes, this seems to be something I can use right now, but overall, it's not fixing the problem. I'm going to even have more problems come the next pay period, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. All I was doing was basically, I felt like I was drowning, and it made me feel like, okay, I was coming up out of the water and I could breathe. But the truth is, I was not out of the water. It was just a simple fact that I was holding my breath. I got up just enough that my nose was out of the water to where I could say, okay, I'm breathing. but I wasn't breathing through my mouth fully. I was only breathing through my nose. It was a temporary fix. It was a bad solution fix for the decisions I made. So I'm asking you that right now, if you are going through a desperate time, if you are really going through a situation where you're feeling like, man, I'm up against the ropes. I don't know what to do. All these advertisings and all these quick fix solutions sound really good. One of the hardest things I found in my life that I had a trouble dealing with at the time was actually sitting down and just putting myself out of the situation, but really, really breaking down each situation one by one. That was my most difficult problem. And I know it sounds like the most easiest thing for a person to do, but when you start actually looking over the things in your life, when you start actually thinking about all of the stuff you got to do and what it's going to take for you to get out of your situation, it can become very overwhelming. That's why in a blog article I wrote, I really talked about the fact that what you need to do is, yes, list everything that it's going to take for you to fix your situations. Not just one, but to fix your situations. Then take another list. So you got two lists. One is a list of everything, and another list, I want you to put 3 things on that list. The 3 most important, most urgent things. And regardless, if one is going to take longer than the other, those 3 things is what you put on your refrigerator or wherever you stick them at as a reminder that this is what you need to accomplish. And you work on those 3 things. Because when you're looking at a list of 3 things versus looking at a list of 20 things every day, it doesn't seem that overwhelming. And now you can focus on 3 things, getting them taken care of. And every time you take one off, you add another one. So it's always 3 things on that list that you're looking at. You're never looking at the list of 20. Like I said, you list that list of 20, you take your highest priority to your lowest priorities, and you just start going down the list until eventually you're going to notice that list of 20 things you had as a priority has now been cut down to maybe 5, maybe 8, maybe 10, because now you have something that's manageable, and mentally and visually, you're seeing something that's only 3 things that you can manage that just seems easier to deal with. But the key thing is, don't give up. Be patient. Take your time, and you can make this happen. Okay? You can make this happen. Hey, thank you for joining us right here on the Simply Straight Talk Show. And don't forget, we do give away prizes and gifts. So you guys stay tuned, and we will be seeing you on the next episode.
Thank you for tuning into today's show. Be sure to subscribe for more motivational topics based on real-life conversations, and don't forget to rate, review, and share our show so we can continue to bring you the best in real-life conversations. Join us next week right here on Simply Straight Talk.